Call to order the Winthrop School Committee on Monday, October 16th, 2023 at 6 p.m. We are in the Harvey Hearing Room in the Town Hall, 1 Metcalf Square in Winthrop, Massachusetts. We are being televised live on WCAT. May I have the roll call, please?
Yes, Ms. Leonard?
Yes.
Mr. Lettieri?
Yeah.
Mr. Martucci?
Yep.
Ms. Petrie?
Yeah.
Ms. Swope?
Here.
Ms. Barry? Ms. Powell?
Present. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Petrie, can you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have no public comment tonight, but we do have some special visitors and guests tonight. Thank you so much for coming. This is Casa, and you're going to give us an update on where we are now.
Yeah,
All right, I will turn the floor over to you. Thank you so much for coming.
thanks so much for having us. So I'm Amy Epstein, I'm the director, and this is Jen and Leanne, and they're also going to introduce themselves when they talk. We just came to give you some updates on our programs and with a special focus on some of the things that the school system actually buys into and supports. So, what is CASA? Our mission is, in collaboration with community partners, CASA offers no-cost, safe, inclusive programming with opportunities to build resiliency, foster social emotional learning skills, and address mental health needs for youth and families. Through outreach and initiatives, we aim to empower youth and actively engage in their communities and to reach their full potential. I meant to tell you, you have a copy of the slides in your folder. Sorry. How does CASA support students? We have community and school-based direct services and supports, combined with community coalitions and partnerships that aim to make environmental changes around enhancing protective factors for youth to reduce risk and guide positive youth outcomes. So we have a major overarching coalition, and that's made up of anyone that wants to come really, but we have specifically 12 sectors represented. It's part of a strategic prevention framework that we use. It's a network of providers and stakeholders. We have presentations and we get together and collaborate together. We do data collection and analysis, and we look at the prevention needs assessment, which is what we do every other year in the schools. We look for gaps in services, we look for trends in data. We share resources. We have a newsletter that goes out that has a collection of announcements for the community. We create and implement strategies to meet needs. We have 2 different work groups, which I'll get to, and then just everyone's welcome. We meet here quarterly, and you can tune in through Zoom, you can come in person, and there's more information of details in the newsletter, which you can sign up for. One of our work groups is the Youth Mental Health Work Group. It works on increasing access to clinical services for youth in Winthrop. It works on increasing access to non-clinical pro-social engagement opportunities for youth. Since we have a shortage of clinicians, what else can we do? We have a social marketing campaign to be a trusted adult to the youth in your life, which is going around on Facebook, and we have some trainings. We collaborate on Wellness Week at the high school, and then we also have coordinated with the school to get youth mental health first aid for the staff at the school. Our next work group is called the Equitable Family Engagement Network. It's our newest work group, and this work group specifically helps with kind of newcomer families to the community. We work closely with the LPAC, which is the English Learners Parent Advisory Council. So we partner very closely with them and Fabiola, and we go to their meetings and we find out needs and we try to fill them. We were able to purchase bilingual books for all of the public schools, plus the library, plus the Winthrop Parents Network. So there's they all use them for different things. Some did like a curriculum of math in Spanish, some were like the summer reading books, some were all different things. And we also have a resource guide that we translated into 5 languages. So we have Albanian, Portuguese, Spanish, Arabic and English. We didn't really translate it into English, did we? And then we have our direct service program. So we have our middle school drop-in program, which is every day from 3 to 6 after school. It's free. We do all sorts of things like homework help, and there's video games, there's snacks, there's all sorts of things. Q Club is weekly, and that's for LGBTQ youth. We have open rec every Friday night that we do in partnership with the police department, which is just an open gym and some crafting at the old middle school. And then we have special events like carnival and movie night, and we had mini golf, different special events throughout the community. Does anyone have any questions so far? Okay. So the next slide is just our org chart, and I'm kind of showing you the two programs that we're highlighting tonight, which are the ones that the school department has committed to helping support. So we have the purple, which is the YouthWorks program, and the green, which is the Community Diversion and Intervention program. So you're going to hear specifically more about those two programs tonight. And I'm going to hand it over to Jen, who will introduce herself and tell you all about YouthWorks. She's the Director of Curriculum and School Partnerships.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jen Reff. We started this program 3 years ago. It's been a while. At a very small scale. It's a soft skills career readiness program. Leanne and Lisa had talked about doing something like this for a while. So we wrote for a little bit of funding through a DESE grant through the Department of Ed called ASOST. It stands for After School and Out of School Time. So with that, we started up YouthWorks. So we offer it 10 sessions at a time. The students in the high school are able to come after school to me in the high school. And every session has some type of soft skills embedded into it. The students get CPR first aid certification, compass leadership training, help with resume building, how you go about interviewing and what skills you need for that. We just added a financial literacy piece. We found a lot of the students don't really know how to open up a bank account. And then we also are excited, last year we piloted a work-life balance part to it, and we had Services offer some free sessions. And starting tomorrow, there's a flyer in your folder, but for the rest of the school year, we're offering free team yoga. So we partnered with Be the Light Yoga Studio. Kathleen Duffy has been a huge supporter of the youth in the community, so every Tuesday at 3:30 at her studio is free yoga for our high school students, so we're excited about that. Starting Thursday, we have team yoga in Spanish for the next 4 weeks. We're seeing a lot of the ELL students, especially the new immigrant families, those students are looking for a lot to do, so we're trying to support them through that. We ran a youth work session this past summer, all in Spanish, which was really great, so they were able to participate. We also offer college mentoring, so one-on-one support for students that need help with writing their college essay, to filling out the FAFSA, finding what school might be a nice match for them, so we're doing that. We also have been seeing a lot of students that want to take a gap year, so we work with them as far as, okay, besides just taking a year off, here are a couple other options for you. So that's been really successful. And then we had a lot of students that were looking for high set, which is the old GED, so we've helped a few students kind of navigate how to get through that as well. So that's YouthWorks.
Jen, just to interrupt quickly, I think this is not done in isolation, which I think is super important. For several years, Leanne and I were talking about the value of CASA and the opportunities that are out there in the grant world to partner with people to get the work done. And, you know, just my work as a special ed director, Leanne's clinical work, we figured out that it was about the sort of the title and the name, and it was a place where certain groups of kids were thought to go. And so we did a lot of work on trying to figure out how do we really partner from a visual perspective so that our kids feel comfortable, and we learned a lot about our kids not only do we not go over the bridge very often, we also like to stay inside the walls of Winthrop High School. And so we piloted 2 or 3 years ago, bringing the services into the school, but more importantly, having Jen and Leanne and Amy work with the principals, the guidance counselors to become part of the school, not just somebody coming in and doing something under our roof, but partnering with our guidance counselors. So when we're talking about some of the work that Jen's done with resume building, or looking at preparing kids for the GED, which is now called something different, or talking to kids and helping them with resumes, it's a support system to the support systems that we have. So the kids see that as being inside the school, and they are much more apt to take part in it, because it's not a separate place that they have to go, that somebody might see them and think something of them that might not be overly positive. And the work that's been being done with newcomers, students who don't have a place to fit in just yet, whether you're a newcomer because you moved here from Revere, or you're a newcomer because you moved here from Columbia. There's always that hesitation about how do I fit in, where do I go? So that extra outreach has been super supportive. So not to steal your thunder, but I think it's important.
I've talked with the guidance and adjustment counselors almost every day. And, you know, you want to support them because there's so many students that need supports. So they're constantly asking and referring students to us, which has been great. That's really where we get most of the students to sign up for YouthWorks. It's because the teachers, and I visited a few classrooms every time we get a new session going, so they know who I am. They know they can come. Even after the 10 sessions, I work one-on-one with a lot of them, because some of them aren't ready yet to apply for a job, or don't feel like they know enough people to get a job. So it's been really great. And even just connecting with a lot of the businesses in the town that want kids to go through this process before they hire them. Because sometimes it's difficult to hire young people. We talk about cell phone etiquette, and at first the students think I'm crazy, and it's like, no, you really need to understand that when I was your age, you weren't like caught on your cell phone all the time. You can't do that at work. So it's, we didn't, right? No.
No.
We didn't have them.
Those kind of things.
So it's been really great. The school is such a great support system for us, but you know, all we want to do is make sure we're trying to fill in those blanks to support the school. And the students are amazing. I mean, some of them really need a lot of help. Some of them just want to add to their resume, which is really cool. So it's a great mix of students. And it's been great. I love it. I've worked in youth for 30 years, and this has just been a really fulfilling job for me. So thanks for having us.
Yeah.
I'm Leanna Ruzioni. I am the clinical director over at CASA. So I oversee kind of our diversion lens, and also kind of all of the clinical, from a clinical lens, all of the kind of programming that we're talking about here, making sure that kids are emotionally safe in our space, and that we're providing them with opportunities to get their emotional needs met. As well as kind of all the other fun things that, you know, that we're doing. I guess a part of that is that this year we have taken on an intern from Boston University who's getting her master's in social work. So she is in our space. She'll be at majority of these special events. But she will be at drop-in. She will be doing some stuff in collaboration with the school. So we're really excited to have kind of just an additional clinical body in the space to kind of help kids navigate the trials and tribulations of just being a kid in the world today. So we're really excited about that. And she will also be assisting me in managing our diversion program. So the diversion program is designed to be an alternative to suspension, or an alternative to kind of police involvement if the police department finds it an appropriate fit. So students from the middle school and high school can be deferred to us to receive support and kind of additional programming and services in lieu of a lengthy first suspension, or a suspension at all, or maybe you have to be removed from the building, but you're gonna get it removed from your record, or whatever. The great part, I guess, about our partnership is that we can take each case on a case-by-case basis to identify what is going on for the student, how can we be most helpful to the student and their family, to help them get, you know, the services and supports that they need to make kind of better decisions. So they kind of, I call it like a probationary period, so they kind of go on probation with me, so to speak, for, you know, 3 months typically, and I meet with them on a consistent basis to kind of do check-ins. I check in with the people at the school, I check in with family at home, with the police department, like what is going on for the student and how can we support them. We create some sort of contract, right, which is what they're willing to work on to make change. And then, you know, at the end, if they do what they say they're going to do and we're able to kind of move some things in a more positive direction, then they officially kind of graduate from our program and they either get their, whatever the agreement was then becomes true. Most of the time, that's typically the suspension has come off your record, and you're able to kind of, you know, move on from there. So we've offered this program in various capacities for a long time. I can't even remember when we started. But it's grown as the student body has grown, and we've kind of, and as different kind of staff within the school have kind of helped us kind of navigate how we want to tweak them. The biggest benefit I think that we see to the diversion program is because we're a small group of people where, you know, we work really, really closely together, we're able to act quickly and we're able to implement things on a much smaller scale on a one-on-one basis with a kid instead of kind of them being in a system of issues or in a system of rules and regulations that dictate what they can and cannot do. We're able to work in a really small group to help young people just figure out something, right? We're just trying to move something in a more positive direction to help, you know, to help them get better, or make better choices for themselves. And they, most of the time, all of these kids that come through diversion are then part of all of this, all the other things that have been explained to you today. So it's a really great way for a student that might be taking a hard right down the wrong direction, right, to kind of get looped back in and to get some proper support.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Do you guys have any specific questions about either of those programs?
Yes.
This is terrific. I've loved it from the time I started here and you talked about CASA. I think it makes such a difference to kids. And I could see it. And at graduation, I almost cried because I remember a few of the kids that you actually came up and said something to when they walked across the stage. And I thought that they said that group of people have really helped this group, or they wouldn't have been so delighted to see you at graduation. Also, just one quick note, I'm so glad you're doing financial literacy. I cannot tell you how important I think that could be, and please let the math teachers know if they can fit financial literacy into their curriculum. It would be great. But this is terrific. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much.
You've come a long way, you know, and it's about teaching and learning, and it's about giving kids a reason and a place and people who care about them to change their behavior so that when we release them to the real world, that they're well prepared. And it's really just it's a different program than many that I've seen. And not being punished for something, but being educated on how not to make the same silly error again, with additional supports and people who actually are continuously poking at you and telling you you're doing a good job and leading you along the way, has made a huge difference in what we see with our students. And typically when you punish somebody, you just make them more mad. And then the behavior itself doesn't necessarily change, and this has changed that whole direction along with the other supports in the school. So we're thrilled to partner. We spend a lot of time together, you know, creating things and trying to think outside the box, which has been great. So thank you all for that.
We really, another thing that's really important to us is that there's never a cost for anything. So everything at CASA is free of charge, which we find is kind of like one of the only places in Winthrop that's completely free. And we get like a lot of students who are like, are you sure it's free? And their parents send them with money anyway. Like, it's almost like confusing for them. But we never charge for anything we do. Every program is open to all youth.
How many students do you serve overall?
I mean, like over the year,
Yeah.
I would say hundreds, probably over 200 maybe. It depends, like probably more. Like, cause open rec gets like 60 kids a night sometimes. And then they change, they're not always the same ones.
Right.
Drop-in usually has, it really depends on the day and the activity. And then, you know, all the other programs, it's a lot of kids.
That's fantastic.
Thank you. So just coming up in the future, we have the next prevention needs assessment coming up this year. So you guys will have more data to see. We're working on trying to get teen mental health first aid in the high school. Jen is trained now. So that's something that goes to the students, actually. We're working with Matt Serino to have a training for coaches around mental health. So all coaches will be trained with some sort of like mental health piece. And then just, I wanted to mention that we are here for you guys, so we want to know what we can do to make your lives better, easier. What services do you see? We're all about filling gaps. So like the high set was a perfect example. The guidance counselors came to us and said, we have these kids dropping out and then they don't have any services. So we kind of stepped in and said, we'll help with that. So really, please continue to give us your ideas, feedback. We love hearing. The last slide has my information on it, so please feel free to reach out at any time. You can sign up for our listserv, which is really informative, and that's on our website. And then we did include flyers there's just tons of, like, we have our schedule for the fall, a flyer for our girls group, a flyer for our boys group, a flyer for our high school volunteer program. We have our homework club, Q club, Youth Works, and the very popular Pokemon Club.
Nice.
So, anytime, you have anything, we're available. We love feedback. We love to hear needs, gaps.
Great.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate
for
your
having
time.
us.
Yeah, thanks for
Please reach
coming.
out
We've been wanting to do
anytime.
this for a while, so it's nice to be able to get you in one place and be able to sort of spill everything out
Yes.
that we talk about all the time, but
Right.
don't necessarily
Thanks
have the
for giving us the
opportunity to
floor.
share.
Yes.
in a
It's good to be
formal
able to
setting.
share. Thank
All
you
right,
guys
thanks.
for having us.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your meeting. Hopefully it's not too
You
late.
could stay, you're more than
Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of September 25th, 2023?
Motion?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Swope, second by Ms. Petrie. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions?
abstain.
One abstention. Noted. Minutes are approved. May I have a motion to approve warrant SVW 24-5 in the amount of $387,206.79?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Petrie, second by Mr. Martucci. Any discussion? Hearing none, can I have a roll call, please?
Ms. Leonard? Yes. Mr. Lettieri?
Yes.
Mr. Martucci?
Yes.
Ms. Petrie?
Yes.
Ms. Swope? Yes. Ms. Powell?
Yes.
And Ms. Barry is not here with us tonight.
Can I have a motion for a budget transfer in the amount of $38,460.20?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Swope, second by Mr. Lettieri. Any discussion? Hearing none, can I have a roll call, please?
Yes, Ms. Leonard? Yes. Mr. Lettieri?
Yes.
Mr. Martucci?
Yes.
Ms. Petrie?
Yes.
Ms. Swope? Yes. Ms. Barry? Ms. Powell?
Yes. Can I have a motion for a budget transfer in the amount of $245,399.61?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Lettieri, second by Ms. Swope. Any discussion? Hearing none, may I have a roll call?
Ms. Leonard? Yes. Mr. Lettieri?
Yes.
Mr. Martucci?
Yes.
Ms. Petrie?
Yes.
Ms. Swope? Yes. Ms. Barry? Ms. Powell?
Yes. May I have a motion for a budget transfer in the amount of $104,455?
Motion. Second.
Motion by Mr. Martucci, second by Mr. Lettieri. Any discussion? Hearing none, can I have a roll call, please?
Yes, Ms. Leonard? Yes. Mr. Lettieri?
Yes.
Mr. Martucci?
Yes.
Ms. Petrie?
Yes.
Ms. Swope? Yes. Ms. Barry? Ms. Powell?
Yes. May I have a motion for a budget transfer in the amount of $107,539.84?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Swope, second by Mr. Lettieri. Any discussion? Hearing none, can I have a roll call?
Yes, Ms. Leonard? Yes. Mr. Lettieri?
Yes.
Mr. Martucci?
Yes.
Ms. Petrie?
Yes.
Ms. Swope? Yes. Ms. Barry? Ms. Powell?
Yes. May I have a motion to accept the donation from the Consul General of Italy for the WHS Italian Language Program?
Motion accept.
Motion by Mr. Martucci, second Mr. Martucci, second by Mr. Lettieri. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Hearing none, motion passes. I have 2 buildings and grounds requests I can take together. The Winthrop Viking Youth Center for a cheer competition showcase and the Winthrop School of Performing Arts holiday show. Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve both.
Motion by Mr. Lettieri, second by Mr. Martucci. Any discussion? Hearing none, can I have a vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Hearing none, motion passes. We have no subcommittee report tonight. Do we have superintendent's report?
We do, just, I had to shift from my roll call duties to this. Update on staffing, as you all know, and the staff here and administration knows, there continues to be a relatively large statewide shortage of teachers, especially in the areas of special ed, English language learners, foreign language teachers, and the like. The 23-24 school year, I would say, has been our biggest challenge that we have faced in terms of recruiting teachers for some of our open positions. However, we continue to work very closely with multiple agencies, which I'll mention in a minute, to fill those positions. Right now at the Gorman-Fort Banks, we're getting there. We're down 2 ESPs, not from the original posting, but people who have since left. At the Cummings School, we are still down 1 special ed teacher, 1 chairperson, which is a special ed administrator, and 1 ESP from a recent resignation. At the middle school, a recent resignation, we are open for 1 ESP. And at the high school, we are still down a special education teacher for one of our classrooms. We've had a lot of cafeteria workers that have, some who have gone into positions of ESPs at the school, so that has opened up some positions there. So we continue to need cafeteria workers, and we can always use substitute teachers. So Spanish at the middle school has been a position that we have struggled to fill over the past 2 years and has become some subject of some recent concern in emails from parents who we have responded to. But just as an overview, the middle school Spanish class is 1 of 6 specials at the middle school. Each special meets for approximately 60 days in a row on a trimester schedule. Prior to the 22-23 school year, students received Spanish, STEM, art, music, drama, and a PE health combination class. So those were the 6 specials that they had. For the past 2 years, we've had a great deal of difficulty filling the Spanish position, and that happened again this year. So this year, we posted it on multiple websites, which I'll talk about: School Spring, Indeed, Handshake, the Superintendent Listserv, the Mass Jobs website, et cetera. And in posting the position this year, again, we received limited applicants for the Spanish position. We did have 1 teacher who was certified, who we offered the position to, who took a position in another school district and did not accept the position here. And there were other candidates that the committee that was doing the interviews, aside from the fact that they were not certified teachers, did not feel comfortable moving forward with any of those applicants. So ideally, if the budget would allow us to have 7 specials, we'd love to add Spanish, but that simply is not the case right now. So we continue to offer the 6 specials. However, PE and health, which used to be combined as 1 class as a special, we now split it, so it's a full year of PE and a full year of health. So this year, students take 6 specials over the 3 trimesters, and the specials are health for the 60 days, STEM, music, drama, art, and PE. And again, ideally, if the budget would allow, we would like to find a certified special Spanish teacher, and we'd like to add a 7th special, in the coming years. Again, it was very difficult to try to find someone this year, even after posting on all those different listservs. Mr. Curley took an additional step and reached out to several colleges who have educated prep programs for world language teachers to recruit teachers to Winthrop. And in speaking with those educated prep programs, making sure that they're aware, if you have somebody who's graduating or close to graduation, please have them reach out to us. Some of those colleges, just to name a few, Salem State, Bridgewater, BU, and UMass Boston. We've also been working with school administration, exploring different alternative solutions for this school year. If we could offer an after-school club program perhaps with either one of our current Spanish teachers, because we know it's still difficult to find teachers to come in. And again, this is the middle school level. This is one teacher that teaches grades 6, 7, and 8 across the board. So they are continuing to work on that. Mr. Curley welcomes any of the members of the school committee, if they would like to have a deeper conversation about his struggle with this particular position, to please reach out to him.
Can I ask just a clarifying
Sure.
on that? You said if budget were to allow, you would have the 7 specials, but this isn't a budget question, this is a, we can't find the teacher question?
It is not a budget question. Right now, we have 6 specials. One of them, we wanted it to be Spanish. When I say if the budget would allow, moving forward, with the new health curriculum coming in that we are in the process of looking at now, and with the social emotional needs of our students, in our health class, we teach SEL as well. So our second step program lessons are done during the health class. So if we had Spanish this year, and if we still had only 6 specials at the middle school, health and PE would be split. So instead of getting 60 days of a special of health and 60 of PE, you'd get 30 and 30. And we are finding over the past 2 years, and certainly, have seen in the past, but ramping up even more so now, that having that health class as a full special for kids in 6, 7, and 8 is super important and meaningful and beneficial to our students. And again, with the new health curriculum standards coming out, we really need to think about adding that 7th special so that we don't, if we are able to bring Spanish back next year, that we don't have to combine the health and PE again, that we can keep them as singletons running for a 60-day cycle. And that, more on that when we get into the budget, but I believe that will be an additional budget request for next year.
Thank you.
I just want to talk a little bit, I know the committee is aware, there was one of our staff members at the Cumming School reported a concern that there may be mold in a classroom. Andrea O'Leary and myself worked pretty closely with the custodians, as well as Mikkel Filipko, our facilities manager, they looked at the concern. They did not feel it was mold. Some more concerns came about where other teachers were seeing a similar coloring around one of the vents that are in the ceiling that actually blow the heat out. They did a cleaning of it. The facilities manager and custodians still felt that it was not mold, that it was dust, but our teachers became anxious and concerned. And because of that, and out of an abundance of caution, both Mrs. O'Leary and I, along with the facilities manager, decided it would be beneficial to have someone come in who actually specializes in mold and take a look at the areas and do some testing. And then give us a finding so that our staff would feel more comfortable that it truly was or was not mold. And if it was mold, we would have an action plan from a certified company. So Cashins and Associates came out and they did an evaluation which was pretty in-depth after school hours. Over a couple of hour period of time, they test the air quality in the classroom, specifically 7 areas that we pointed out to them, where teachers had over the course of a couple of weeks, felt concerned that it might also be in their classroom. They evaluated those 7 areas inside the classroom as well as right outside the classrooms in the air, so outside of the building. And on Friday, we received their report back. And their initial take was that they did not find any visible mold. Every building has mold in it, every room has mold in it, whether it's your home or whether it's, and I say every, many, you can find mold in many areas. It depends upon what type of mold it is. Again, we're not mold specialists, and that's why we had this company come out. So, the initial results reported by Cash and Associates indicate that there was no indication of concerning airborne mold contamination in any of the evaluated 7 areas, and there was no recommendation for further action to be taken by the school district. We will share that report in its entirety with the school committee, and as well as the town manager's office and the health department. The town health department also raised a concern within its own group that there was mold in our schools, and so we will share that factual information with them as well. And Andrea O'Leary met with the 5th grade team, so this was contained to an area on the 3rd floor of the coming school, primarily the 5th grade wing and a couple of special ed classrooms. And so she shared the information with them today. We wanted to share the information with our staff first, and then get that final report out to everyone else. So once you see that report, if there are questions or concerns, we certainly will make ourselves available to answer those. Enrollment, just quickly, we are up to 1,993 students as of October 1st. Last year, at this time on October 1st, we had 1,941. The number 1993 minus 1941 doesn't seem like a lot of students, but important information to note that as of today, between June 16th, which was the last day of school last year, we have enrolled 90 children in grades 1 through 12. Kindergarten and preschool are an additional 100, and I believe it's 158, I can look it up, but 145 kindergartners and an additional, I believe it was 22 preschoolers. So in total, I believe it was 182. So when you look at grades 1 through 12 and you've added 90 students, and then you say, well, that number doesn't quite gel, it's also important to know that we've also withdrawn 93 students from Winthrop Public Schools since June of 2023, after the last day of school until now. Those withdrawals were some people who have moved on, not graduated. It has nothing to do with students that have graduated, but students that have moved out of the community, students that may not have been able to prove residency during our third, sixth, and ninth grade re-enrollment, and then other students who had moved and not told us as of yet, and that came to our attention, and those students have been removed. So that's somewhat of an update. The October 1 number is always a little sketchy because that process continues throughout the rest of the school year. So although the Department of Ed takes an October 1 count, we have students enrolling and students withdrawing on a daily basis. We have more detailed information on enrollment that I will share at the next meeting. If folks want, I think I got two requests to talk about grade levels and who is coming in and what grade level, and we'll have that information for you either at the next meeting or prior to. I put in your packet a whole group of policies just for your visual appearance. As you might recall, we began the process of reviewing all the Winthrop Public Schools policies with the Mass Association of School Committees last year, with the intent to make sure that our policies were in line with all of the state regulations, and to make sure that we were up to date with every policy and we weren't missing any. So we have completed that process of looking at every single policy we currently have and matching that with the Mass Association of School Committees recommended policies. And now we have to start the process of having subcommittee meetings with the policy subcommittee group so that both Laurie and I can share by section every policy with the subcommittee and let you know what the Mass Association of School Committees has recommended, and if anything at all. And then, after that step is done, the policy subcommittee would bring that back to the main committee, the full committee, for the full committee to vote on them by group. And we will take that process throughout the rest of probably this school year at our school committee meetings till we get through all the policies, A through M, I think. There's quite a few of them. I think that it's important to know that a lot of the work that has been done is in updating current legal references, so many of those were out of date. Adding new policies for areas that we did not have a policy for, that we're supposed to have a policy for, so things you don't know what you don't know, so some of those were recommended. And then I found very interesting, removing some policies that were more indicative of process. So our book is, probably this thick. And so they were very helpful in taking a look at some things that we thought were policy that are actually process and in handbooks and not required to be policy. So the work of the policy subcommittee is going to be to go and vet those out. I think it's going to be important for the committee to have the track changes that are recommended before the policy subcommittee comes back and asks you to vote on something, because there are a lot of them. And it does take time to go through them. It took us 10 months to get through that entire policy book. And then at the very end, we do not have to read, if we take them in, if we vote them in form by group, each school committee meeting when we come to that decision for a group, at the very end, the school committee can vote the full policy manual as a whole, which is different than the typical reading 3 times reading of every single policy. I will be well retired before you read every one of those policies. And considering the amount of time we've put into working on this, I prefer this to be done prior to that. So that is an update on that. I put some professional development updates in your packet, just so you can have a glimpse of what does go on during PD days. I think it's important to share that. It's something that I didn't think about over the course of the past few years, because I know exactly what's going on during PD, but I do think it's important for you to see it so you can tie it to the work that we're doing, especially around curriculum and school safety and the like. And public relations, I will hold until we get to public relations. Any questions for me?
I just have one, real quick.
Yes.
Is this one policy that you put
That's
in?
A.
Pardon me?
The packet that I sent you is Group A,
Oh, thank you.
that has
Okay, that's fine.
probably 45 to 50 subsections on it.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I thought if this is
And those are
one,
just the
we would be here
suggested,
forever.
yeah, there's, when we do the policy subcommittee meeting, Laurie and I will actually sit and go through each one and show you, this is what we had, this is what the recommended change is, and this is why.
Okay.
And that's important for the policy subcommittee, so that you can see whether we're just changing a word or whether we're actually changing the content of a policy, because I think that's important information to bring back to the full committee.
Thank you. Do we have any homeschool applications?
We do not.
Appointments, resignations, retirements, postings, or leave of absence?
Sorry, can I just say or ask a question?
Yes.
About the report?
Yes.
Lisa, thank you. I just wanted to really express my appreciation for the detail of that report and for addressing particularly the concerns about the Spanish education in the middle school, as well as the issues with the mold. And I'm very, very pleased that the report came out the way it did. I just wanted to ask if we could make the discussion of the Spanish instruction in the middle school an ongoing topic of consideration as we think about our budgeting, and also as we think about the recruitment cycle for the next academic year. I just want to make sure this doesn't slip off our radar. I understand you've had to make compromises because of staffing shortages, but I really want to be cognizant that this doesn't, again, slip off our radar for the coming year. And in that vein, I just wanted to put a plea in for having, as you did last year, and I thought was really great, having the various principals visit our meeting so that we can really talk in depth about particularly the school improvement plans, which I don't believe we've ever ratified. I'd really like to talk with each of the individual principals about kind of what issues their schools are facing, what their particular budget concerns
thank you very much.
Thank you. For the superintendent's goals, we have that under new business. I'm going to move that to unfinished business so that we can, I know that that is in process and needs to be developed.
Yep.
For the policy review update, I'm going to move that to the policy committee so that that can be taken under consideration. Under unfinished business, we have the memorandum of agreement between the Winthrop School Committee and Winthrop Administrators Association. Can I have a motion to approve that, please?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lettieri, second by Ms. Swope. Discussion. Hearing none, can I have a roll call, please?
Yes. Flip to that page. Ms. Leonard?
Abstain?
Mr. Lettieri?
Yes.
Mr. Martucci?
Yes.
Ms. Petrie?
Yes.
Ms. Swope?
Yes.
Ms. Barry? Ms. Powell?
Yes. May I have a motion to approve the Assistant Superintendent Executive Director of Curriculum, Instruction, and Accountability Employment Agreement?
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Petrie,
Second.
second by Ms. Swope. Discussion. Yes, Mr. Martucci.
So we had a few meetings on this, and there was one change that we made, which was in the health insurance line. We wanted to read the same as the teacher's contract. So we did, and it's all done, and I know that Lori's agreed with it, and I think we're ready to go.
Okay. Any further discussion? Yes, Mr. Lettieri.
I think the committee did a really good job. I think Laurie is, we're incredibly lucky to have her. She's done very well over a number of years, and hopefully she will continue to do very well for a long time. My only concern with this contract is I don't like to see stipends in a position such as a superintendent or an assistant superintendent. I think it's either part of the job or someone else should be doing it. Because if it's something that's not part of the job and they have to spend that much more time doing it, they're spending way too much time. I think curriculum is number one, and I think it's an incredible amount of time for her to just do the job she has. So if this is part of the job, then it should be included in the salary, but I just don't like giving stipends to positions of that caliber.
Any further discussion?
I agree with that, Jim.
Yes, Mr. Martucci.
Those are stipends that she had been getting previously. So it's, if you want to make part of a salary, you can negotiate that, but we're trying to keep it the same as what it is. She's doing the work anyways, she's gonna do it now, she did it then. It's really just a title change. She's gonna do the same job.
I'm just, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Again, I have no complaints with her work, her effort, or anything at all. And I have no problems with the contract on the financial end. I just, it's either part of the job or it isn't part of the job. If it's part of the job, I think it should be written in and there should be an adjustment to the salary. If it's not part of the job, I think it should be posted for, another qualified person to do. But I just think at that level, there's so much responsibility to add, I think of it, and maybe I'm just misunderstanding it, but I think of a stipend as doing something above and beyond for an additional stipend. So you have your job, your requirements, and now you're taking on an additional task for an additional stipend. And I just think jobs of that level, I don't think they have the ability to take on additional. Now, in this situation, it could be a little different into the fact that she might be one of the only ones that qualified to do some of this, some of these tasks. So in that case, if that's the reason, then I think it should be written into the contract. But, I'll support the contract. I just wanted to note my objection to giving, and setting a precedent, giving stipends to this type of position.
May I
Yes.
ask if those stipends were previously in the administrator's contract and then they were moved to this specific individual contract?
They were not.
No. Okay.
They were not. And just for understanding both points and understanding the way the contract was written, if the contract were to be modified, just for everybody's, and Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, if the contract were to be modified, there would be no stipends. The expectations of the job would be the same, to continue to manage the large amount of grant funding that she manages, all the reporting that goes along with it, all the checks and balances of every purchase order, making sure that anything that is purchased is tied to the grant capabilities. And in this case, those stipends, from what Jim is saying, would just be reflected in one salary. So it wouldn't be one salary plus two stipends, but if you took the two stipends and put them into the salary year one, year two, and year three, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other, but you're eliminating the title of stipend, making it a job responsibility of the assistant superintendent. I don't find any issue with doing that. I believe that when we wrote the contract, it was really more clarity in outlining what it was she was doing beyond just the director of curriculum and instruction. So I don't think it would be a big tilt to make it part of the full salary and not call it a stipend, and just move that amount of money, as you see on page 2, into the salary, where you see the column that shows the salary. You would be moving the two stipends into the salary and removing the word stipend from the contract. I don't believe it's a big deal.
Does that change how the benefits are calculated, her retirement benefits?
If the stipend is in her contract is empty, because those are all MTRS eligible. MTRS is taken out of them now and has been in the past. So they would still be MTRS eligible, because they're in the contract and because we take MTRS, they are still counted towards her retirement.
Okay, yes.
Lisa, in other school systems, don't they have grant writers, just grant
They do.
writers?
Many school systems have people that are just responsible for writing grants and managing grants.
Right.
And they also have in their business office a grant manager responsible for grants.
Yes.
But no.
Yes, you can come
Yes,
in.
Yeah, the
thank you.
school committee meeting is still going on, but you're welcome to come in. So a lot of schools have a grant writer that writes and manages the grants, but then they have someone in their business office who takes care of all the procurement of all the paperwork that goes along with paying the grants and the correct line items. We don't have either one of those people. Laurie is doing
I know.
that.
And so, the only thing I understand what you're saying, but eventually, I would hope, as we grow, we will have a grant writer, in addition, that would report to her. So I'm not sure if we should that's singled out, I think, because it's such an important situation, but I don't know if it should be a stipend either.
So you're saying in that situation, it would roll back the responsibility, and as well as the stipend?
Yeah, I would think if we had some, we don't have enough money to have two people, but I do think we will probably in the future add a grant writer.
Yes.
I do think that leaving the things the way they are now financially for the school district, you're not gonna roll that. Am I reading this right? It's two $7,500 stipends, or is it stipend 1 is the first one and stipend 2 is the $7,500 stipend?
Right.
Correct,
Stipend 1 is the first one and stipend.
correct.
So the 17,500 total of the stipend is not gonna have a 2% increase compounded for the next 2 years. So financially, it might make more sense to leave it as is for right now. And maybe think about that for the next negotiation cycle.
That's correct, and that's a good point.
No offense to Lori.
But it's a good point of clarity, because I did not say that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, may I have a roll call, please?
Yes. Ms. Leonard?
Yes.
Mr. Lettieri?
Yes.
Mr. Martucci?
Yes.
Ms. Petrie?
Yes.
Ms. Swope?
Yes.
Ms. Barry? Ms. Powell?
Yes.
There is no.
It's here. It's here, we're almost done.
Okay, that has been approved. Public relations.
Just quickly, the majority of the public relations are in your packet. Parents Network, it's having several family nights on Thursdays at the Gorman Fort Bank School Those are posted on the website with all the dates. They're all free and open to the public. There will be a Winthrop Community Health Forum on Wednesday, October 18th at Winthrop High School from 6 to 8 o'clock p.m. And there's a few fundraising things, 50/50 raffle in conjunction with the county fair for the class of 2025. The Winthrop Student Council is hosting 20% night at Hong Kong Dragon on the 21st from 5 to 9. The Drama Society is doing Freaky Friday, a new musical, November 8th, 9th, and 10th at the Neil Shapiro Center. Tickets are on sale and it's posted on the high school website. And the Drama Society is also having a fall fun bake sale on October 21st from 9 to 12 at French Square.
That's this Saturday.
That's correct.
I also have a public relations announcement. Starting next week, as feasible and as a trial, we will be hosting our meetings on Zoom as well as WCAT. So if you, on the postings, there will be a Zoom link available for that.
Just, I'm a representative from you all in the Shore Collaborative, and it's just been kind of an exciting time for them. They have finally almost hit the enrollment they had before COVID, which is wonderful. So they have 171 student services kids that are in there, as well as 328 adults. They have 370 adults, but 328 actually attend. Their budget is $25,683,868, and their revenue is a little bit higher than that. So they are sitting with a surplus of $53,000, which is, they were all down almost $1 million last year, so it's much improved this year. And they do a great job there, and it's a great opportunity for us. We have 4 students enrolled there. Chelsea has 68, Everett has 14, Revere has 49, just to give you an example. And it's not inexpensive, as you well know. It's about $70,000 a student, so goes to show you that we must be doing something right here.
We are. We have
Thank
great
you.
programs.
Mr. Lettieri?
Yeah, just a couple of announcements. October 27th, Fort Banks PTO has their annual trunk or treat behind the ATC school. It's 4:30 to 6:30. The Chamber is back Halloween night, October 31st. Just a great event that has been missing for the past couple of years is back. The Halloween Haunt is in the Winthrop Center from 4 to 6. And then on October 4th at Fort Banks School Playground, the Great Pumpkin Drop will be from 10 in the morning till 12:30.
What is that?
I can't tell you.
Secret.
No, they discard the
Old pumpkins and roll them down the hill.
I see.
So that they can be composted.
Yes.
Yes. Any others? Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Second.